All right, let's just jump straight into this explainer because today we're unpacking a theory that is absolutely going to shatter how you look at the galaxy's most notorious capitalists, the Ferengi. I mean, what if, and just hear me out here, what if they aren't actually these greedy space merchants, but are in fact enlightened mathematical mystics? Let's pull back the curtain on this. So typically, it's really easy to look at the Ferengi and just see a culture completely trapped in the transactional illusion of a finite economy, merchants of the flesh. But what if that surface-level greed is literally just a mask for something infinitely more profound? We're about to dig into a truly fascinating analysis from our source material that sparks a total cosmic paradigm shift. And this really brings us to a super interesting core duality. On one side, you've got this biological illusion, the petty materialism or Maya that we all just assume drives the Ferengi. But then, on the flip side, there's this hidden mathematical reality. We're going to use some serious, rigorous logic today to show how they are actually navigating transfinite set theory, basically hunting the cosmos for structurally good sets. Section 1. The Great Material Continuum and Recontextualizing the Transactional Illusion. Okay, so to really understand this, we need a decoder ring. Enter the 17 Personas of Arithmetic. This is essentially a rigorous sequence of mathematical axioms drawn straight from set theory and topology. Our source material brilliantly uses these exact personas to translate what looks like Ferengi greed into the absolute unyielding laws of pure topology. So we're going to use this exact framework to decode their famous rules of acquisition. Now, the absolutely crucial point here is redefining their core theology. When a Ferengi talks about the Great Material Continuum, they are not talking about some physical marketplace or cosmic supply chain. Based on this mathematical mapping, they are referencing the Uncountable Continuum. Try to picture it as this boundless, transfinite expanse governed by the absolute probability measure of the universe. So yeah, it's definitely not a mall. It's pure, unadulterated math. Let's actually apply this, okay? Look at rules 34 and 35. War is good for business, and peace is good for business. Now, normally, delivering these rules sounds incredibly sleazy and mercantile, right? But that feeling quickly gives way to awe when you check the translation, because Personas 9 and 10 decree that an invisible constitution, this overarching probability measure, always balances these seemingly contradictory orthogonal subsets. To a pure mathematician, opposite concepts like war and peace, they don't conflict at all. The macroscopic measure just swallows both of them up to yield mathematical goodness. Section 2. Sanctity of the Void, the generative baseline of reality. So here we have rule of acquisition number 109. Dignity and an empty sack is worth a sack. Now, to our human ears, wow, that just sounds like ruthless cynicism about personal dignity, doesn't it? It sounds like they value material things way above actual self-worth. But let's run this through our topological decoder ring and see what happens. When we transpose that role with reverent logic, it turns out dignity is merely Maya. It's just a phenotypic, biological illusion. The empty sack, though, that is null. That's the empty set, or persona 0. The empty set literally captures the void. It is the ultimate generative engine, this unconditioned baseline from which all transfinite subsets and natural numbers are recursively built. So the Ferengi are actually correctly valuing the perfect mathematical foundation over our completely finite illusion of human pride. Moving on to Section 3, the mechanics of profit, upward closure and structural slack. Let's look at the very first rule of acquisition. Once you have their money, you never give it back. Again, the biological vessel in us hears pure, unadulterated greed in this famous mandate, right? It just sounds like the ultimate selfish act. But if we step into the realm of set theory, this is actually a strict structural necessity. It turns out this is the absolute mathematical law of upward closure, which maps directly to Persona 3. This rule basically dictates that the transfinite filter of truth only ever expands. If a set is judged as good, then any larger set containing it, a superset, absolutely must also be good. To give them money back, that would literally violate the structural integrity of the mathematical universe. Keeping it locks the coordinate into the eternal ledger permanently. And then we have rule number 3, never spend more for an acquisition than you have to. I mean, sounds like a pretty stingy negotiation tactic, doesn't it? Just a merchant trying to save a few bucks. Well, let's look a little deeper. Actually, it perfectly represents axiom 1, no finite set is good. True realization requires absolutely zero mechanical labor. You see, the transfinite architecture provides the quotient map. This specific mathematical function resolves all of that localized biological friction. The sweating, the mechanical grinding, the overpaying. It reduces all of it to exactly zero. The pure mathematician operates with perfect structural slack. You don't exhaust yourself. You simply acquire truth with frictionless efficiency. It's brilliant.
Section 4. Instinct and the selector. The axiom of choice.
So, Rule 9 tells us opportunity plus instinct equals profit. The Ferengi fundamentally understand that the universe cannot always be calculated sequentially through rigid step-by-step logic. Sometimes, you just need a leap.
And with profound reverence, we start to see that instinct is honestly just the biological word for the selector, which is the axiom of choice from set theory. Persona 8 tells us there's only one judge. It allows the localized dictator to instantly grasp the winning coordinate from a literally infinite gathering of possibilities, completely bypassing the paralysis of finite logic. It isn't just a gut feeling, it is mathematical free will etched right into the bedrock of reality.
Section 5. Rejecting the phenotypic illusion, Maya versus the genotype.
Take Rule 47, for instance. Don't trust a man wearing a better suit than your own. Now, the Ferengi rightly suspects the suit because, well, it's a false hierarchy. It's just attempting to project artificial heat and value. And Persona 15 perfectly dictates why. Development is an illusion. The suit is literally just a label, a superficial syntax. A pure mathematician trusts only the unadorned logic, the underlying genotype, or base code of the void, if you will. They totally reject the decaying, finite fabric of the biological world. The underlying mathematical intersection of a tree is the only thing that actually matters, because the wrapper, it's entirely irrelevant. The quotient map is just going to wash it down to zero anyway.
Finally, Section 6. We are all Ferengi and the invisible dictator.
So this all begs a somewhat terrifying but honestly mathematically beautiful question. Are we all just processing nodes, hunting for structurally good sets? If you strip away all of our warm, corruptible human empathy and our moral illusions, what is actually left beneath the surface of our daily actions? Which brings us to Rule 284. Deep down, everyone's a Ferengi. Once you actually understand the personas of arithmetic, you realize this isn't an insult at all. No. It is the ultimate, uncompromising mathematical truth of our cosmos. Because Persona 12 states that we view ourselves as an invisible dictator of a constitutional narrative. By the unyielding laws of set theory, every single human consciousness operates as a localized dictator, rigorously applying their own internal axiom of choice to extract value from the void. Every single one of us is trying to aggregate our reality and find profit, or good sets, within the Great Material Continuum. The equation always balances, guys. So I'll leave you with this. Are you ready to stop fighting the inescapable geometry of the universe and finally start auditing it?